Subadar, our sponsors, and international delegates, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to our opening ceremony of this international workshop, Perspectives of Emerging Markets. We are very pleased to welcome you to Mauritius, and I must say, since last year, Alex and the team, by the way, Alex is there, he's the one responsible for the logistics of that part, and we floated this idea of having the workshop in Mauritius, and we must admit that at the start, we thought it might not be an easy thing, and somehow we are very happy to say that we've managed to get additional funds, especially for our sponsors as well. That's very useful, and we are very pleased to host this workshop in Mauritius. And I'm sure that we'll be having some very fruitful deliberation on the topic. So without losing so much time, I will now invite the registrar to give some opening remarks for the workshop. By the way, I think we just make a small apology for our Vice Chancellor. I think Vice Chancellor is taken up in another faction, but we'll try to make it afterwards. Registrar, please.
Professor Sebastian Dullien, Co-Director of the DAC Partnership on Economic Development Studies, HGW Berlin. Professor Jan Friyu, Co-Director of the DAC Partnership on Economic Development Studies, HGW Berlin. Mr. Ushad Subadar, Head of the Department of Finance and Accounting. International delegates, members of the press, distinguished guests. Good morning and welcome to Mauritius. Within the context of the DAD partnerships on economic development studies, the University of Mauritius is very pleased and privileged to be organizing, in collaboration with HGW Berlin, this 3-day workshop on the theme Perspectives of Emerging Markets. I understand from the coordinators of the workshop, Dr. Boopen Seetanah and Mr. Alejandro Marquez, that selecting Mauritius as the host country was very challenging given the physical distance separating Mauritius from partner countries and the result of budgetary hurdles. But with the unflinching help and assistance from Professor Jan Friyu and Professor Sebastian Dullien from HGW Berlin, this project has been successfully steered to Mauritius. This high-profile workshop will be an excellent vehicle for discussing contemporary, high-impact empirical and theoretical studies in emerging markets and emerging markets financing. This 3-day workshop will span comparative studies that take global and regional perspectives, detailed single country studies that address critical policy issues and have significant global and regional implications, and studies that address the interactions of national and international financial architecture. In particular, this morning's presentation will address fundamental issues relating to what really are emerging economies, globalization and income inequality in emerging economies, and transnational corporations and international trade. I take this opportunity to applaud the organizers in their endeavor to reconcile through roundtable discussions, both at the start and end of the workshop, theory and practice, by bringing under one roof university researchers and presenters, as well as policy makers. I would also like to thank the local sponsors of this workshop, namely Enterprise Mauritius and the State Bank of Mauritius, as well as the DAD Partnership funding and support from the WTO Chair Program at the University for making this event possible. I wish you all fruitful and constructive deliberations and discussions, and I hope that our international delegates will enjoy their stay in Mauritius. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prof. And I invite Mr. Subadar, our Head of Department, Head of Finance and Accounting.
Professor Sebastian Dullien, Co-Director of that Partnership. Professor Jan Brieux, Co-Director of that Partnership. Mr. Salvova, Registrar of the University of Mauritius. International delegates, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, very good morning to you all. The University of Mauritius is very pleased and privileged to be organizing in collaboration with HT and the Dutch Partnership and the WCP. This 3-day workshop on the theme perspective of emerging markets. Well, many countries sadly face serious capacity gap for the design and implementation of sound economic policies. These difficulties are particularly present in the case of formulation of business-oriented services, policies related to universal access to essential services, participation in trade services, negotiation, effective implementation of international trade agreements, amongst others. However, emerging market economies have, to varying degrees, already made progress in improving their financial environment over the past decade. Inflation has been substantially reduced, fiscal balances have been broadly controlled. Many countries have reformed their financial systems, modernized their business regulations. But the term emerging market seems to have been coined to new investors from potential gains. But to new investors from developing countries into new prosperous markets where potential gain would be a multiple of what would be commonly expected in an investment done in northern countries. Emerging markets are indeed nations with social or business activities in the process of rapid industrialization. But financial crises may materialize and disrupt economic activities of these countries as they have in the past. However, provided that emerging market economies continue to pursue structural reforms, stabilizing macroeconomic policies, their prospect for solid economic growth and resilience in the face of crisis would improve. Well, this workshop, under the Dutch Partnership on Economic Development, is a step in the right direction and nurtures cooperation amongst university scholars and policymakers to discuss and consider existing empirical and theoretical studies in emerging market finance. In this connection, the University of Mauritius has been very fortunate to have been selected to act as the first institution to coordinate this high-profile workshop. As such, I wish to congratulate the organizers, Professor Dullien, Professor Brieux, Alex, Dr. Seetanah, for their unwavering efforts for making this event possible. I also wish to thank all the sponsors, namely Enterprise Mauritius and State Bank of Mauritius, along with the Dutch Partnership, and also help from the WTO chairs at UN. Thank you also, Registrar, for your logistical support to this workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Many thanks, Ushad. And now I have the pleasure to invite Sebastian for some remark and 3 words. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear students. Well, let me first thank the registrar and the head of the department for the very warm welcome words. We are very happy to be here in Mauritius for this workshop. We have already experienced great hospitality and great organizational skills by the logistics of bringing us here and the hotel. Everything has been very nice so far. So can you hear me? Okay. Okay. I would like to thank the team of Boopen, Seetanah and his people for making this possible, for organizing these things here. We know from our own experience that it is a lot of work, and especially making these things working smoothly is nothing which just comes by itself, but it's hard work and hard efforts. We are looking very much forward to the content of our workshop. We're talking about the perspective of emerging markets, and we're going to have about 20 presentations in the next 3 days by presenters from 11 countries. And that's a very international group. I'll come to that a little later, how this fits into the context of this project. But having representatives from 11 countries, from Latin America, over Europe, to Africa, to Asia here, I think this promises very interesting debates. We also will having a roundtable debate this afternoon on the euro crisis. When we go to Europe, but maybe also to the financial sector in Mauritius, at the moment there's little else to talk about the euro crisis. The news are full of it, and while Europe is not an emerging market, I think maybe some of the things which are happening there might provide some lessons for emerging markets as well. So I hope to have a nice and interesting audience there this afternoon. Great to have this workshop here in Mauritius for a number of reasons. Of course, it's a very beautiful island, but for scholars that should not be the main reason to come here. I think it's also of great interest for the emerging world as a whole. It's of course a small island economy, which makes it different from other countries, but it's also a proverbial emerging market. If you look at the economic performance, it has been pretty good over the past decades. I looked at the data, and if I didn't do the calculation incorrectly, since 1970, Mauritius has had more than 5% of economic growth per year. So per capita GDP has grown tremendously, and especially if you compare that to the rest of Africa, which has seen a growth rate of, well, I think not even 1% per year. This is quite impressive. Add to this that things weren't that easy for Mauritius. Mauritius has experienced a number of shocks over the decades, starting with the loss of the sugar preferences, the loss of connected preferences in the clothing market, the rise of world prices of oil and food since 2003, which is important for an economy which doesn't have oil itself and has also to import a number of food products. And still Mauritius is doing quite well. And so we hope to learn something about that. There's a bridge between Africa and India, so maybe the rest of Africa can learn something from that, and also some of the other emerging markets can learn something. Okay, so let me say a few words on this EAD partnership, which has financed this workshop. The EAD is the German Academic Exchange Service, and they have a program line for cooperations between Germany and universities in developing countries and emerging markets. And this is what this project is financed from. And we have a 4-year budget. We have 12 partner universities in 11 countries. And let me just list the number of the countries so you get an impression how far this network spreads the globe. We have partners in Chile, Brazil, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, Germany, Belarus, Jordan, Mauritius, India, and China. We are also supported by UNCTAD, so we work closely with the Social Institute of UNCTAD, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. And the goal of our project is first to improve the teaching of economics at the master level in the partner universities, and second to conduct joint research. We think that the joint research is important also to improve the teaching at the master level, because only if you do research yourself you can do cutting-edge teaching at the master's level. And when we started this program, we had the observation that a lot of the teaching material textbooks we are using, not only you, but also most of the emerging markets and developing countries, are basically not geared to the problems of emerging markets and developing countries. In economics, you very often use textbooks from the United States, and which often are concerned with the problems of large, closed, industrialized economies, which is exactly the opposite of what many developing countries are. So the textbook, we did a poll among our universities, and the textbook which is used in international economics at almost all universities is Boopen Ushad International Economics. This might be a good textbook or not, we discussed that, but it's certainly not geared to the specific institutional and economic problems in developing countries. So our idea is to seek solutions to that, maybe to work on some material which can supplement these textbooks, but also to exchange and talk about best practice. And of course talk about the problems emerging markets and developing countries face, from trade policies to financial sector development. We have a number of instruments for that. We offer short-term fellowships, so senior staff, lecturers, professors who would like to do some research can come to Berlin for a month, give some lectures here. We also offer that for junior staff, that means people who have just gotten their PhD or are in the process of getting their PhD. They can also come to Germany and stay with us for up to 3 months. They then usually go to some classes, not necessarily to take the exam, but to get an idea how teaching is done in other universities. We also, my colleague Jan Klever and me, we have been traveling to some of the partner universities, giving lectures there. Jan has been here in Mauritius before, and again, this is to create a network, but also to expose students to other views from other countries, and so make them more international in their approach and their thinking. We also have usually 2 annual workshops. Usually we have done one in Berlin and one at the partner university. This year we are having one here in Mauritius, and we will have one smaller one in Berlin. In the second half of the year. And in these workshops we discuss these content, these specific issues for developing countries and emerging markets, but we sometimes, not in this workshop but in other workshops, we also had sessions on teaching approaches and teaching content. One of the things we aim at in this workshop is help some of the universities to launch new master programs. And so far we're very proud to have seen 2 programs launched in Belarus, and there are other programs being worked on that are in the process of being improved and launched in some of the other universities. We had a book publications together with Ushad on the financial crisis and the impact on the developing world. And we have a working paper series at HTW where some of the papers which have been written from fellows while they stayed in Berlin have been put into, and which is a nice opportunity for those in the network to publish their work. This working paper series is, if you publish there, it means you still can publish in a referee journal if you want to. It's usually just pre-publication, but it still has an international ISSN number. So if any of the members of the network are interested in submitting something, you're welcome to send it to us. We'll then go through some referee process that maybe might be useful for some of you. We have this financing for this project up to 2013, but we hope to continue working with our partners after that time, and we're talking during our stay here what kind of vision we might have for the future. Because I think so far this network has been quite successful in bringing together different perspectives from different countries, and I hope to continue so, and I hope that the University of Mauritius will be an integral part of that project also in the future. Okay, I'll leave it here. Again, thank you very much for your hospitality. We're very happy to be here and looking forward to great discussions. Thank you very much.